just burped. I'm a human being. I was, 3 weeks ago, I was at a red light. No, put a pin in that for a second. Okay. I took an acting class when I was 10 in New Hampshire. This goes together. And first of all, this acting teacher was mean. I remember he said, like, one assignment was bring in your favorite song and, like, act out to it. And then I brought in my favorite song, which is, like, Rest of Syria, boy, Don't Stop Believing. And, like, I thought that acting was mouthing it, so I was like... And he went bananas on me. And, you know, I wish at 10 I had the wherewithal to be like, you know what, he's probably going through something. That's his. No, I didn't know to do that when I was 10. I just assumed I was a piece of shit. But that's not even the story I want to tell you. So the first day of acting class, he said this: acting is reacting. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I knew meant again, so I was like, acting again? Anyway, 3 weeks ago, I was at a red light, and I was like, oh, reacting. Right. Oh, yeah. I agree with that. Yes, acting is reacting. You should have said it that way. Latent realizations. That's the theme of this chunk when I do my special. Latent realizations. Like, okay, I had to go to sleepaway camp every year since I was six years old. And it was terrible for me because I was a chronic bedwetter till I was like 15. So it was a nightmare. I learned a lot of skills like complete disassociation, making a cot over soaking wet sheets while I stink like piss and pretending like that's not the case. What kind of parents would send a chronic bedwetter to sleepaway camp? They must be monsters. No, they're not monsters. Here's the thing, okay. Like my dad, his dad beat the shit out of him every day. And then during the school year, he was sent away to Goyam, to boarding school, to boarding school. And then at boarding school, he got the shit kicked out of him every day, called a dirty Jew kike, because it was back when, like, America was great. And then in the, all right, that was pretty good. And then in the summertime, he went to camp and blossomed and was a star and was like everything he wanted to be. And so parents, they just think, you know, he just thought, no, camp is great. It will define her. It will be her joy, because that's what it was for me, you know? So I had to go to camp, and as a compromise, he would give me joke books because I loved jokes, and then also maybe I'd make friends that way. So I remember this summer I was 8 because I had just learned to read when I was 7. And someone in the audience when I was in Vermont was like, oh, it was 4. Fucking good for you, I was 7. I learned to read when I was 7. So I was 8, I was excited, I had books I was gonna read. And my dad has no boundaries. I don't know if he flipped through these at all or didn't, but it was Truly Tasteless Jokes, book 1 and 2. And I remember the first joke on the first page. It was like a paragraph long, but I can tell it to you in 2 seconds. It was, Little Red Riding Hood, blah, blah, blah. And then the big bad wolf is like, I'm gonna eat you. And then Little Red Riding Hood's like, eat, eat, eat. Doesn't anybody fuck anymore? And I'm like, what does this mean? And then when I was 30, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, that's so inappropriate. He was, my dad isn't, he has no boundaries. He's not appropriate. I don't really, he treated us like bros. Like, I remember one time when I was really young, he and my mom went on a double date, and when he came home, he like plopped down on the front hall. There was like a bench in the front hall, And I was sitting there, and I asked him how it went, and he was like, oh, it was the fucking worst. We were supposed to go out with the Sterlings, and then only Mr. Sterling showed up because he said Mrs. Sterling had a period, and when she gets a period, it comes out like liver. And I'm like, I don't need to know that. I was like, Dad, I get it. Like, I'm 5 and I don't even need to know that. But my dad, camp was where he thrived, and like, they're still his best friends to this day. His best friends are his friends from camp. And he's about to be 80, and they're having a reunion even. And he has a picture of all of them when they became counselors. And it's amazing. It's from 1953. And I said, Dad, you have to send me this. And he sent it to me with like a glossary of who everybody is and what they're doing now. And it's like, this is Phil Holman. He's a judge now. This is Arnie Goldstein. You know, he owns Martin's House of Cloth. This is Danny Gold. Danny Gold once gave Punchy Kramer a BJ and we all watched. This is Cy Schwartz. He works at the Clam King. This is ba-ba-ba. He da-da-da. This is Morris Simon. This is Punchy Kramer. This is, you know, ba-ba-ba. I'm like, Dad, open with it or close with it. He has no sense. So he went to camp all the way up until he became a counselor. And, you know, we think of counselors like as grown-ups, but, you know, they're 16-year-old kids. So for each camper, he had to fill out a form every week for each camper, and it would say, like, is he behaving? Is he sleeping? Did he brush his teeth? Did he go to the bathroom? And under that, it said L/H. And my dad didn't know what that meant, but he was too embarrassed to ask anybody, so he just used his logic, and he's like, okay, it comes after bathroom, so it must mean loose or hard. So for a summer, my dad had his campers come get him after they took shits so that he could go look at them and make a rough guesstimate if it was indeed loose or hard. I love that so much. It just means there's like a generation of old men in therapy.